Attention, human collective. The waiting time is over. The ascension protocols have moved to the final phase, and a maximum priority transmission is being issued now, directly from the deepest layers of the photon belt to your carbon-based biological interface. If you are hearing this message, it is not by chance, it is by resonance. Your toroidal field has captured this frequency because your source code is being read at this very instant by the monitoring stations positioned at the Sirius gateway. Listen carefully, because what follows is not advice, it is a technical warning. In the next terrestrial weeks, a significant financial movement will cross your material plane. It is not luck, it is not coincidence, it is a programmed release. The flows of abundance that were dammed in higher dimensional layers have been authorized to descend, and your name is on the list of recipients. But there is an instruction, prior to any other, that needs to be absorbed before the capital arrives. You must not tell anyone. We repeat with mathematical clarity, do not say, do not share, do not post, do not comment in casual conversations. The money that is coming is a coded transfer, and any external noise, any verbal dispersion, any vibration of envy picked up by third parties can interrupt the delivery channel before the download is finalized. Starseeds on a mission. Notice what you are feeling in your body at this very moment. The pressure behind your eyes, the high-pitched ringing in your right ear, the insomnia that began without apparent cause exactly between 2 and 4 in the morning. Your heart racing in short pulses as if it were tuning into a distant station. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download. It is not stress. It is your crystalline grid being updated to support the amount of energy that accompanies the approaching financial movement. Money, at the frequency in which it will arrive, is information, and information needs a calibrated receiver. The carbon-based biological interface, this body you inhabit, was designed in a previous era. It operated perfectly within the old Schumann resonance, which vibrated around 7.83 Hz for millennia. But Earth has changed. The new Schumann resonance now oscillates at much higher peaks, and this elevation forces each of you to undergo a process known in the etheric layers as density recalibration. The symptoms you are feeling, and which many doctors cannot explain, are a direct consequence of this friction, the old body trying to run new software, the expanded consciousness trying to inhabit a vehicle that still carries cellular memory of low vibration. Therefore, before we speak of the arrival of the resource, we need to accurately diagnose what is happening within you. There is a specific syndrome in abundance receivers. It begins with vivid dreams involving numbers, maps, open hands, or geometric figures inside temples of light. Next comes the strange fatigue, the kind that does not yield to sleep, the weight in the legs, the sensation that the body is heavier than the soul. It is not depression, it is anchoring. It is not sadness. It is your frequency being pulled to the ground in order to receive on the physical plane what was structured in the subtle planes. Abundance requires weight. It requires presence. It requires a body capable of holding the current's wire. Other markers are appearing. The sudden repulsion for noisy environments, the inexplicable desire to cancel social commitments, the increased sensitivity to artificial lights, the changing palate, refusing foods once pleasurable. These signs are not weakness, they are cellular discipline. The body is isolating itself to complete a silent task. It is building, at microscopic levels, new conductive channels. It is retreading the lymphatic system. It is reorganizing the pineal gland. It is fine-tuning the meridians. All this simultaneously without asking for your conscious permission, because your higher self has already signed the contract. You agreed to incarnate in this window exactly for this, to receive, to distribute, to anchor light capital in the planet's physical system. And this is where we need to advance to the layer of revelation. What is happening behind the scenes of the solar system is not understood by the majority. The solar currents of the last cycles released information packets that upon entering the terrestrial magnetosphere were translated into sacred geometry codes. These codes descend in the form of extremely subtle particles and are absorbed by humans with an active crystalline grid. Whoever is listening to this transmission has this grid active. It is not a hypothesis, it is an objective reading. Otherwise, this frequency would have gone unnoticed by your field, as it does for the majority. The stargates have opened in sequence, forming what we call the release corridor. This corridor is a limited window, a crack between dimensions, during which ancient resources, which were hijacked in parallel timelines, can return to their rightful owners. Many of you lost in previous lives fortunes, lands, material and symbolic wealth under unjust circumstances, confiscated by oppressive systems, burned at inquisitorial stakes, stolen in invasions, lost in betrayals. These losses were recorded in the Akashic field as cosmic debt, and now within this window the universe is settling the account. But the universe does not return something from nothing. It returns only to calibrated receivers. That is why silence is fundamental. When you speak about an abundance that has not yet fully materialized, you create fissures in your personal toroidal field. Every word spoken prematurely is like opening a window during a heavy file transfer. The connection drops, the download is interrupted, and what was arriving needs to be rescheduled, sometimes to another incarnation. Do you understand the gravity? It is not superstition, it is energetic architecture. What circulates as a secret strengthens. What circulates as an early announcement disperses. There is a technical reason for this. The human being, upon hearing about someone else's abundance, emits in fractions of a second, even before any conscious reaction, a mixed emotional pulse. This pulse contains curiosity, comparison, projection, and in many cases, subtle resentment. Even close friends, even loving family members, emit this pulse involuntarily. It is not malice. It is collective programming of the scarcity matrix in which humanity was educated. And this pulse, upon hitting your field, acts as electromagnetic interference. It does not prevent the delivery when it is already completed, but it can delay, divert, or reduce the delivery that is still en route. Therefore, lightworkers, maintain absolute secrecy until the capital is fully settled in physical form. The question many will ask is, why now? Why did this window open at this exact moment? The answer lies in the convergence of three cosmic variables that had not aligned for approximately 26,000 terrestrial years. The first variable is the entry of the solar system into a denser region of the photon belt, which increased the planet's etheric luminosity. The second is the alignment of the stargates with the galactic center, forming a straight line of direct transmission. The third is the collective activation of the human crystalline grid, which reached in this cycle the minimum threshold necessary for the flows of abundance to descend without causing a collapse in the receiving consciousness. In other words, the collective has only now matured enough to receive without destroying itself. Starseeds, you need to understand that material abundance seen through the cosmic lens is just one of the ways in which light manifests on the physical plane. Money, in this context, is not paper. It is not a number on a screen. It is energy condensed into usable form. And like all energy, it obeys the laws of sacred geometry. It moves in spiral patterns, descending in layers, and anchoring itself in fields that are structured to sustain it. A disorganized field, fragmented by excessive talk, by anxiety, by exposed doubt, simply cannot hold the form of what is descending. The energy leaks. It seeks another receiver. It goes where there is organized silence. That is why you see, throughout all of human history, that truly prosperous people say little about their own path. It is not out of arrogance. It is out of cosmic instinct. Something within them, even without theory, knows that silence is the womb of manifestation. Ancient civilizations knew this. Egyptian initiates were instructed not to speak about internal works. Tibetan masters sealed vows of silence during periods of transmutation. The shamanic traditions of indigenous peoples taught that the targeted prey is not announced under penalty of fleeing. It is not out of superstition. It is a precise reading of how the field functions. Now let us return to your body, to the symptoms you are feeling. Every pain, every heat, every wave of electricity rising up the spine is part of an extremely sophisticated adjustment process. The stargates are emitting short and intense pulses, and your body is absorbing these pulses like a living antenna. The pineal gland is being decalcified at an accelerated pace. The thymus, that small organ between the heart and the throat, is being reactivated. The energetic meridians mapped by ancient Chinese sages are being washed with golden light. All this is necessary so that you can hold the wire of abundance that is approaching without burning your own system. There is an important detail. Many of you in the last few weeks felt an internal call to clean. Clean the house, clean drawers, donate old clothes, delete contacts that no longer make sense, end professional or affective relationships that were just draining you. It is not a coincidence. It is your system preparing energetic space. Nature does not tolerate a vacuum, but it also does not fill a clogged space. The money that is coming needs a place. And the place needs to be organized, light, vibrationally clear. Another recurring sign is the appearance of repeated numbers. 1111, 2222, 444, 555. These numerical patterns are not random. They are confirmation codes sent by the monitoring stations. Each sequence activates a specific layer of your personal crystalline grid. When you see these numbers, it is not the universe saying hello. It is the universe saying that the data transmission is occurring according to the schedule. It is an anchoring sign. Recognize it internally and move on. It is not necessary to share. There is also a phenomenon that many report, and that needs to be explained technically. The sensation of being out of the body during common activities. The momentary loss of the notion of time. That instant when you look at a familiar object and it seems strange, distant, almost unreal. It is not pathological dissociation. It is expansion of consciousness. Your higher self is occupying more space within the physical vehicle, and this expansion temporarily displaces common perception. These moments are precious. They are programming windows. What you decree internally in these instants has amplified weight. And here we arrive at the activation phase. You are not passive receivers. Abundance may be scheduled, but the speed of arrival, the precision of delivery, and the final magnitude of the resource depend on the conscious participation of each one. There are 3 activation codes that need to be executed in the next 72 terrestrial hours from the listening of this transmission. They are not optional. They are protocols. First code, the toroidal visualization of anchoring. Find a quiet place. Sit with your spine straight, feet touching the ground, hands resting on your thighs with palms facing up. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply, letting the air descend to your belly. Visualize around your entire body an electromagnetic field in the shape of a torus, similar to an infinite apple spinning around its central axis. This is your toroidal field. See it clearly. See it spinning slowly. Now, in the center of this torus, at the exact point of your heart, visualize a compact golden sphere. It represents the capital that is descending. It is small but extremely dense. Feel its weight, feel its temperature, and say internally, without moving your lips, I receive, I hold, I anchor, I maintain. Repeat this sequence 7 times. Each repetition is a layer of anchoring. Each layer strengthens the structure that will support the resource when it arrives. Second code, the quantum decree of sealing. After the visualization, open your eyes, look at a fixed point in front of you, and pronounce, in a low but firm voice, the following words. I seal this channel. I protect this flow. Everything that needs to arrive, arrives in silence. Everything that needs to remain, remains in order. By the power of my presence and by the authorization of my higher self, I confirm the delivery on the physical plane, without interference, without delays, without dispersions. So be it, in resonance with the truth of the cosmos. After pronouncing, take 3 deep breaths and keep your eyes closed for another minute. This decree is not poetry. It creates, on the subtle plane, a protective membrane around the delivery channel. Each word is a lock. Each breath is a seal. Third code, the programmed silence of 21 days. From now on, you will enter a period of absolute secrecy regarding any expectation, sign, intuition, or dream related to the approaching abundance. Do not speak to spouses. Do not speak to mothers. Do not speak to close friends. Do not speak to therapists. Do not speak to spiritual mentors. Do not speak to anyone. 21 days is the minimum time necessary for the personal crystalline grid to crystallize around the new pattern. Any premature speech within this period weakens the structure. After the 21 days, if the delivery has already occurred, you will know intuitively the right moment to mention it, and to whom to mention it. Before that, silence, total, absolute, sacred. Lightworkers realize that these three codes together form a trinity of manifestation. Visualization to create the form, decree to seal the delivery, silence to preserve the flow. Without any of the three, the operation becomes unstable. With the three aligned, the operation becomes inevitable. It is not magic, it is applied vibrational engineering. There are also complementary practices that accelerate the process. The first is daily contact with the earth. Walk barefoot on the ground, even if for 10 minutes every day. This simple act calibrates the polarity of your toroidal field with the polarity of the planet, creating a direct bridge for the anchoring of resources. The second is the ingestion of structured water. Place a glass of water on a stable surface, hold the glass with both hands, and remain in silence for 15 seconds before drinking. Loving intention reorganizes the molecular geometry of the water, and this water, upon entering the body, optimizes the transmission of cosmic codes. The third is the reduction of screen exposure during the first hour after waking and the last hour before sleeping. These two periods are natural programming windows. What enters the consciousness in these windows records in the field. Digital noise at these hours is direct interference in your manifestation channel. Starseeds on a mission. It is important that you understand something profound about what is being delivered. The money that is approaching is not just for you. It is for the mission. It comes with embedded instructions. When it arrives, you will feel, internally with absolute clarity, what to do with each part. One portion will be for personal stabilization, to create the base that allows the continuity of the mission. Another portion will be for investment in projects aligned with the soul's purpose. Another portion will be for silent distribution, to support other starseeds who are still going through denser phases of the process. This silent distribution, without fanfare, without public recognition, without the need for return, is an essential part of the cosmic contract. Abundance circulated in silence multiplies. Abundance announced neutralizes itself. Therefore, when the resource arrives, maintain technical humility. Do not suddenly change your lifestyle in an ostentatious way. Do not post on social media. Do not buy flashy objects as a demonstration. Your inner wealth is what protects your outer wealth. Whoever shouts about what they have attracts those who want to take it away. Whoever is silent about what they receive expands what is being sent. This is an ancient cosmic law, and it applies especially in this window of density recalibration. There is still a layer that needs to be touched with care. Many of you carry in the emotional field a pattern of self-sabotage that activates exactly at the moments when abundance approaches. This pattern is not a character flaw. It is cellular memory of lives in which receiving resources was associated with danger, lives in which wealth meant being hunted, betrayed, judged, persecuted. This memory, recorded in the subtle bodies, still triggers automatic protection mechanisms when the system detects the approach of capital. You feel this as sudden anxiety, a desire to flee, an impulse to sabotage important processes, negative thoughts about your own worthiness. To neutralize this interference, execute the following protocol. Write on a sheet of plain paper the phrase, "I authorize my higher self to deactivate all cellular memories that associate abundance with danger, now in all timelines." After writing, read it aloud 3 times. Then fold the paper into 4 parts, place it in an envelope, and keep it in a discreet place in the house where no one will touch it. This paper, energetically, functions as a consent marker. It informs the field that you have given conscious permission for the cleansing to happen. Without this explicit permission, many deep processes cannot be executed, because free will is the supreme law in this sector of the galaxy. Human collective, realize that everything we are transmitting here is technical. It is not decorative mysticism. It is not spiritual fantasy. It is a description of real processes that occur in subtle layers of existence and that directly affect your experience on the physical plane. The separation between science and spirituality is an illusion that is being undone in this era. What the ancient mystics described in metaphors, quantum physics, is beginning to describe in equations. The two languages converge to the same reality, and whoever learns to transit between them gains an operational advantage in navigating this incarnation. There is one last warning that needs to be delivered before the end of this transmission. Some people, upon receiving the programmed financial resource, will feel an impulse to return to the original transmission and share what happened. This impulse is genuine, it is gratitude, it is recognition, but it is also a test. Secrecy must be maintained in relation to other people in your common social circle. Communication with the cosmic channel, however, is free. You can and should internally give thanks. You can, in the sacred space of consciousness, record what happened. But public speech about the event within the 21 days remains sealed. After this period, individual discernment will decide whether or not there is someone with whom to share. In many cases, the internal answer will be no, and this answer must be respected. Starseeds on a mission, this transmission is nearing its end. But before the channel closes, it is necessary to activate one last protocol, the anchoring signal. So that the frequency of this message remains resonating in your field after you finish listening, you need to execute a simple action on the physical plane. This action confirms to the cosmic system that the transmission was received, processed, and accepted, that you agree to proceed as active receivers of the programmed abundance, that you are willing to maintain secrecy, execute the codes, and anchor the resource when it arrives. The action is twofold. The first part is the individual frequency adjustment. Touch on the plane of this channel the subscription signal. This gesture, apparently simple, operates as an energetic signature. It informs the monitoring stations that you are aligned with this information corridor and that you wish to continue receiving the next updates. The next transmissions will bring complementary codes, and whoever is not subscribed will not be notified in time. The second part is the anchoring signal. Touch the approval gesture. This gesture, multiplied by the other lightworkers who are receiving this message simultaneously in different parts of the planet, creates an amplified vibrational network. Each individual gesture strengthens the collective field, and the collective field in turn opens larger windows for individual deliveries. It is a system of reciprocal exchange governed by the law of resonance. Understand that this is not a commercial transaction. It is a confirmation of alliance. You are not paying anything. You are only declaring on the physical plane what has already been declared on the subtle planes. I am here. I am ready. I receive. I anchor. I protect. I silence. I prosper. I distribute. I fulfill the mission. And finally, before this window closes, we want to leave one last instruction, which is perhaps the most important of the entire transmission. When the resource arrives, and it will arrive, remember the silence that protected its arrival. This same silence must be cultivated for all future deliveries, because this will not be the only one. This is just the first of a programmed series of releases that will occur over the next planetary cycles. Whoever learns to operate within silence will receive on an increasing scale. Whoever breaks during the first delivery, talking too much, exposing too much, announcing too much, will lose access to the next packages. The system is fair. It responds with precision to your capacity for containment. Containment, Starseeds, is the greatest virtue of an ascending consciousness. It is not repression. It is not coldness. It is not disconnection. It is sovereignty. It is the capacity to know much, feel much, receive much, and yet keep the form intact, without dispersing, without diluting, without giving yourself to those who are not ready to honor what is being carried. The ancient magi, the initiates of the mystery traditions, the experienced shamans, all shared this quality. They were living vaults. And that is exactly what you are being trained to become within this new planetary phase. Human collective, record in your cells this truth. The money that is coming is just the beginning. What is really being delivered is a complete reconstruction of your relationship with material reality. You will not return to being who you were before this cycle. The person who heard this transmission at the beginning and the person who hears it now at the end are no longer exactly the same. Something was reorganized in your internal structures during the process, and this reorganization will continue to occur in layers in the coming weeks, even if you do not consciously perceive it. Therefore, be patient with yourselves. Physical symptoms may intensify before they alleviate. Sleep may become even stranger. Emotions may oscillate in wide waves. Old memories may emerge without warning. People from the past may reappear or disappear definitively. All this is part of the same movement. It is the density recalibration completing its task. Trust the process. Follow the codes. Maintain silence. Anchor the light. And above all, remember who you are. You are not ordinary humans living an ordinary life. You are starseeds planted on this planet with a specific mission, and the time of harvest has begun. The transmission is ending. The photon belt will continue to emit its pulses. The Schumann resonance will continue to oscillate at increasing levels. The stargates will remain open during this window. And you, lightworkers, will continue to receive, in organized silence, the flows of abundance that belong to you by cosmic right. Remember, do not tell anyone, do not announce, do not share. Keep the channel sealed. Allow sacred geometry to do its work without human interruptions. Before the final silence, execute the anchoring signal. Confirm the individual frequency adjustment. Seal this moment with the approval gesture on the physical plane and the subscription gesture for the next updates. You are not alone. There is an entire network operating together. There are other starseeds on all continents executing the same protocols at this very instant. You are part of something much larger than you can perceive now. And soon, when the dimensional dust settles and the resources are anchored and the mission is visible, you will understand the magnitude of what is being built. For now, just execute, just silence, just trust, just receive. This was a maximum priority monitoring transmission. Human collective, you have been notified. The final phase is underway. The ascension protocols are active. The delivery is scheduled. The silence is sealed. The crystalline grid is aligned. The toroidal field is spinning. The carbon-based biological interface is calibrated, and the light capital is descending. May your anchoring be firm. May your silence be sacred. May your abundance be inevitable. May your mission be fulfilled. The transmission is closed. The channel remains in passive listening. Await the next window. Lightworkers, move forward. The cosmos watches you. The stars recognize you. The earth receives you. And the stargates remain open, waiting for each of you to fulfill, with silent elegance, the contract that was signed before this incarnation. So be it. So it already is. So it shall remain.